Hello, everybody. This is the podcast on the money betrayal. And if you've been betrayed money wise, it's really going to hurt. It's going to hurt in the relationship, of course, because you trusted them and they betrayed you, but it's also going to hurt because you lost money or you can't get the money back. Now, this can happen in families, friendships, even in partnerships, and it can happen in business. It doesn't really matter how it happens, it's the fact you've been betrayed and lied to and deceived. Quite often you can lose quite a lot of money as well, and you can find out you've lost so much money and then later found out you lost a lot more money. There can be cases where your partner has been racking up a lot of debt and you didn't know about it, and then you find out the tip of the iceberg and then you find out later. When people basically steal money from you, because that's really what it is, it really feels bad, and you know that they've lied to you and deceived you. It's not your fault you trusted them. That's what I want you to remember. You were in a position of trust with them and them with you, and they were the ones who broke that trust. The first thing you have to do is find out how much money and where it's gone, and if you can retrieve any of it. Quite often, when you have betrayal with money, you actually do lose money, and there's nothing you can really do about it. There are certain things you can take people to court if you want to. However, that's just going to be something that's a decision of yours, and that can be actually quite costly. But then, of course, if you've lost a lot of money, it could be worth it. If you're in business with that person, you need to sort of rectify it and try and prop up the business if you want to keep the business going, or you might just buy them out, or you might dissolve the contract that you have together. Once people start stealing money from you, your trust of them will go in other areas as well. You won't just mistrust the money thing, you'll actually not trust anything they say. You won't believe them anymore. And this is going to have huge ramifications in your relationship. There can be money problems that you also come through the will. For example, you might have thought that in this will that was coming after the person died, you were going to get equal amount, and you could be actually left very little or left almost out of the will, and other people are given lots of money. This is also a betrayal. It's usually also a payback. It's a revenge. It's their last little act of revenge before they leave the planet. They do it, and then you're left with it. And that's also up to you how important it is to fight that, because when you're in a family, if one person's left a lot of money, and I'm talking a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe the house, and you've been left $500 or $1,000 or something ridiculous, or even not left anything, you can actually contest it. However, if you do that, because the person betrayed you and they're dead now, they're not going to be the one who will be injured. You can actually injure your own relationships with your other family members and siblings. So you might want to really have a look at that one. It's sometimes better just to let it be, and if the siblings or the other family members have any compassion, they can actually pass money over to you or re-divide it up. You can do that through a lawyer, almost re-gift it. This is something that if it doesn't happen, though, you will not be happy about it. That's the truth of it, particularly if you didn't do anything really wrong and the person was just playing favourites or wanted to make a statement about something. Being betrayed through the will make you angry, and it's really hurtful. It's a really painful thing to do to somebody, but people do it. Decide what's in your best interest. Sometimes I think it's strange things happen in the universe. I was betrayed and lost all my family inheritance to another family member. I lost everything. And then I decided not to go ahead with it because one of the family members was in the will, and by doing that I was actually going to fight with them as well, and they were in my close family. So I decided against it. And later on, the money came back another way, through another friendship. I was left money. Sometimes it will right itself in a weird way, like what you don't get there, the universe will kind of give it back to you in some other way. You really need to look at the long-term effects of this, because if you start fighting with people about money in the will, it can actually break up your entire family that way. So the person almost leaves a knife in the family and poisons the family, and you have to decide whether you're going to do that or not. Being betrayed in your partnership or with money will actually make huge problems because you don't trust them now, and you might have to change who takes care of the money if you want to stay in it. And that's the best thing to do. The one who's betrayed it, the trust, and the one who's lost the money should not be the one anymore who is dealing with the money. So the one who's trustworthy and is good with money should now be the keeper of the gate, the keeper of the money, and they're the ones who dole it out so you can stop that happening again. This will happen with someone too who gambles. If you either are the gambler or the person who gambles is your partner, then you really have to look at this. So you can put in boundaries and financial ways to change it. If you've got into trouble financially in a partnership particularly, it's a good idea to go to a financial person who will help you rebudget your way out of it and pay some of your debt bit by bit, and so you don't lose your credit rating. The money betrayal one is really hard because in a funny way we equate money and love, and I know we shouldn't, but humans do. And so when a person betrays you with money, you really feel that they didn't really be that loving towards you because they took money from you for themselves for their own selfish reasons. Try to be also compassionate because some people just start to get into more and more debt, and there's some shame there and humiliation, and so they don't really want to tell you, and they keep borrowing more to try and start gambling, borrow a bit more, gamble a bit more, and maybe I can make it up, and they just get more and more in debt. But you don't want to have the day when you open the front door and there's a debt collector at your front door to take charge of the house now, and you didn't even know that was happening. That's the thing. It's important in relationships, all relationships in family, business, friends and partnerships, that you are very transparent and open about the money. If you're going to get into any financial arrangements with your friends and your family, you need to be very clear how you're going to do this and what boundaries you want, and you could even set up a contract. I know it sounds harsh, but if you're dealing with people who you already know aren't good with money, maybe your dad's really bad but he wants you to lend him some money, you could have some kind of contract set up, particularly if he is someone who might need that boundary. The money betrayal is horrible because they lied to you and they stole from you, and that feels really, really bad because you shouldn't do that to someone who loves you. But it can be fixed up and rectified in time, but you have to change who controls the money now. And once you've lent or given money to somebody and they squander it or won't pay it back, don't do it again. Do not do it again. That's the thing you have to learn, that you can't keep bailing them out, because if you keep doing that, you keep the pattern going and you will be basically financially abused by them, and they will actually continue to betray you. I'm sorry if you've had this one because it's not nice, whether it's done in real life or by the will. It's still not nice. And the will really does leave a really bad taste in your mouth, and it's a very difficult one to sort out once the person's gone, because there's huge ramifications whichever way you do it. Sometimes I think it's easier to let it go, but if you want to fight it, just realise that in fighting it, you're going to try and get some of the money back from the other people in the family, so that might not go so well. However, if you're lucky enough, they might realise that that person was being awful and write it out and fix it up and make it all equal. So sometimes people can leave the will like this and everyone who's left behind fixes it up. So good luck with this one. It's a hard one, but do not lend money to people you don't trust anymore. Maybe that's the lesson, but we don't know that until we've been done, I think. Hoping you have a good week, and I'm sending you lots of love and lots of healing.